Today, hundreds of millions of birds, mammals, fish and reptiles are traded worldwide as exotic pets. Ball pythons are one of the most popular choices, finding themselves confined to glass tanks in homes all around the world. Hello guys, welcome to another video. We will be talking about the origin of ball pythons. The ball python, also called the royal python, is a python species native to West and Central Africa, where it lives in grasslands, shrublands, and open forests. This non-venomous constrictor is the smallest of the African pythons, growing to a maximum length of 182 centimeters. The name ball python refers to its tendency to curl into a ball when stressed or frightened. Ball pythons are widely bred in captivity in North America and Europe. On average, more than 50,000 a year are also exported from Togo, the main source country in their natural range across West and Central Africa. The ball python is particularly revered by the Igbo people in southeastern Nigeria, who consider it symbolic of the earth, being an animal that travels so close to the ground. Even Christian Igbos treat ball pythons with great care whenever they come across one in a village or on someone's property. They either let them roam or pick them up gently and return them to a forest or field away from houses. If one is accidentally killed, many communities on Igbo land still build a coffin for the snake's remains and give it a short funeral. In northwestern Ghana, there is a taboo towards pythons as people consider them a savior and cannot hurt or eat them. According to folklore, a python once helped them flee from their enemies by transforming into a log to allow them to cross a river. Boa regia was the scientific name proposed by George Shaw in 1802 for a pale variegated python from an indistinct place in Africa. The generic name python was proposed by François-Marie Daudin in 1803 for non-venomous flecked snakes. Between 1830 and 1849, several generic names were proposed for the same zoological specimen described by Shaw, including Anagris by Johann George Weigler, Cenchrus and Hertulia by John Edward Gray. He also described 4 specimens that were collected in Gambia and were preserved in spirits and fluid. During the 1980s and early 90s, ball pythons were seen as cheap and commonplace pet snakes, says Dave Barker, a trained biologist who with his wife, Stacy, started one of the first major captive breeding ball python businesses. Then in 1992, the first designer ball pythons albinos bred in captivity went on sale. Suddenly the species came from the back seat of the car to the driver's seat, Barker says. Demand exploded for ball pythons, which are now bred in dazzling colors and patterns. The ball python is listed as near threatened on the IUCN Red List as it experiences a high level of exploitation, so that the population has probably declined in most of West Africa. From 1997 to 2018, more than 3.6 million ball pythons were exported legally from West Africa. Togo, the leading supplier along with Benin and Ghana, account for more than 98% of exports, according to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, the treaty that regulates cross-border trade in wildlife. Despite the magnitude of the international trade, scant information exists on how many ball pythons are in the wild or how trade is affecting wild populations, which also face significant pressure from hunting for bushmeat, as well as from use in traditional medicines and other threats. Ball pythons aren't classified as threatened with extinction, but a collection of new research suggests that perhaps they should be. It points to gaps in oversight of the supply chain in West Africa. In the end, it comes down to the buyers. The market for wild ball pythons in North America and Europe exists because people buy them as pets. Buyers need to show responsibility for wildlife. We as the customers are making the most mess. We're not caring how they harvest them, how they manage them. We just want to have them as our pets. We're exploiting their nature for our purposes. And that wraps up today's video. I hope you've learned something.